I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and today we're going to be taking a detailed look at the Tortuga Travel Backpack 40 liter, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. One of the major changes to this pack, or the additions to this pack, is the change of the fabric. So there are a few different fabrics that they've used previously. V1 and V2 of their travel backpack have used ballistic nylon. V3 used X-Pack VX21, and this is what they call Shell 200. So like an X-Pack, I'll just bring this a little bit closer to the camera there. Like the X-Pack, this is made of 3 layers. So it's a 200D recycled polyester face fabric, and then 45-degree recycled polyester cross ply, and then 70D recycled ripstop polyester backing fabric. So all of that to say that it's got a few different layers to it to give it this kind of sleek look. It's a little less shiny than you would usually see with an X-Pack. There's less stretch to the material as well, so it won't really like expand or stretch out over time as you really start to like pack this thing out. And then there is also like higher tear strength based on Tortuga's tests, and it's lighter weight as well. So kind of all of that combined, it's just a little bit of an upgrade with the material itself. It does have kind of a crunchy feel or sound. You can sort of hear it there. But in general, I did really like this material. I think it has a really nice sleek look to it in general with the outside of this pack. You can see a little bit of a subtle Tortuga logo right at the top there. And then in terms of other kind of features on the outside of this pack here, we have a nice comfortable carry handle on one side. Has like a kind of like a foamy mesh there, and then on the top as well. So that's good for quick grabs. It's only on either side here. There is not a handle on this side there, but I didn't really find myself missing it. All around the pack here, we have YKK lockable water resistant zippers. So this pack is very, very water resistant. So, you know, if you get caught in a rainstorm or something like that, your stuff is gonna be safe on the inside. And then on the either side here, we have 2 water bottle pockets. I am able to get I believe this is a 26 ounce. Yes, a 26 ounce Yeti in here. I'd say without a problem, but it is a bit of a tight squeeze, and it does fit nice and secure. I did find there's a few loose threads here. You can kind of, I'm chalking that up to being a pre-production example. I did find that it got a little bit stretched out over time, but it did spring back, and the water bottle is pretty secure. So overall, a really nice fit. I would say that the harness system is where you're going to see most of the upgrades from the previous version of this pack. So you do still have that adjustable harness system, but instead of being some loops, it is a full panel, and it's Velcroed out. So you can see that like there's a bit of a channel there, and that's usually where I just end up shoving my hand, kind of put the rougher side there. You can detach that Velcro. It does take a bit of effort, as you can see. It's a little loud, but then you just sort of slide this up and down to be the length, or the length of the back panel that you need. So I have a shorter torso, so I just make it essentially as small as possible, and it fits nice and secure there. I didn't feel this move at all. I mean, you can tell by the amount of effort it took for me to even detach it in the first place. You can see that you know, it does hold fairly secure. So we also have these 2 really well padded mesh shoulder straps, and then there's like a foam padding in this and in the back panel with a nice air channel down the middle to help with breathability. There are also 2 load lifters up at the top here. All of that extra strap just falls within these 2 little keepers here, so that stays nice and out of your way, as well as a sternum strap that slides on a rail for really micro adjustments, and then a removable hip belt. So this hip belt has the same mesh as the back panel and the shoulder straps, but it just detaches with the Velcro instead of using like G hooks or something like that. I personally liked it. I find I struggle with G hooks. That's user error for me for sure. But I found that it was really easy to take them on, or put them on and take them off sort of as needed. And the fit was pretty solid for me, which I will show you in a second. Without anything inside, this pack is 4.5 pounds, which is actually the same weight as the Outbreaker 35 liter, which is 5 liters less space than this 40 liter pack here. And so you do get a little extra space without adding any extra weight. But even as heavy as the bag is without anything on the inside, it really does, this hip belt here takes a lot of the weight off. You can see a bit of a gap in the shoulder area here, and it really does feel like a lot of that is lifted off of me. So even with this really comfortable mesh, like foamy padding on the back panel and on the shoulder straps, it really is a very comfortable fit. And then there is a zippered pocket here on both of the hip belts where you can store extra gear. Like if you want to put a phone, I'm able to fit my iPhone 13 in here, or if you want to add like a snack or your passport or chapstick or something like that. It's really great for quick access, but really easy to remove if and when you don't need it. So we're going to dive into the secondary compartments now. Overall, you have 40 liters of space to work with in this pack. There is a 30 liter version as well if you wanted to go down in size, but we're going to be looking at these compartments here. So starting off with the front, we have a just sort of like flat, very easy sort of stuff pocket here. This is a really great spot for like a hat or gloves or anything that you want quick access to, but primarily large items that you want quick access to. You can see that it starts about here and goes down to about here and goes all the way to the other side of the pack. So you have a decent amount of space to work with, but as you start to load things in here, all of the space kind of competes with each other. So as other compartments are packed out, it is going to start to cut into here. So kind of start with the priority spots first. This here I just sort of used as like a last resort for anything I needed. It was great to have, but I didn't use it a ton. And then on the top here, we have a smaller quick grab pocket, and when I say smaller, it's still fairly large. So I have a wallet in here. There is a key leash for keys, just very simple, easy little clip there. And then I just lost it, but it's down there. Have chapstick as well. So you can also put like your phone or headphones in here. Kind of anything you want quick access to during your trip. I found that that was a really great size. It didn't feel too big, but didn't feel like I was lacking space either. So I did like that. There's a little bit of overlap between this compartment and the bottom compartment, but never really felt like I was competing for space too much between these two. So then moving on, we have the admin pocket here. This is what they call their organizer pocket. And this just sort of folds down here. You can see a little bit of bulk here. That is my hat and gloves. And so like I said, it's going to kind of pack into this compartment too as you start to load stuff up. So this here, you have a space to put cards or something like that. There's 4 card slots here. And then in the back, we have a spot to put I have a Kindle here if you have another e-reader or something like that. It is a pretty shallow pocket. It only comes down to about here. So there is a tablet sleeve in the laptop compartment, which we'll get to, but it does have a nice like kind of felt lining to it. Feels very secure back there. And then we have a little mesh pocket here, great spot for your passport, and then 2 pen loops. And then this little tiny pocket, you can see the seam of this actually goes to here, so it's a shallow pocket so your stuff doesn't like fall down to the very front. And here is where I put like a wall charger and then my phone cable. So it's kind of acted as like my everyday quick grab items. And then I have a notebook, and this is actually where I put a toiletry bag as well. So it goes all the way down to this bottom of here. And this is such like a wide area. I felt like I had so much room to work with that it was a really great spot for me to put larger pouches and things like that. It worked out really great for those items. So I did enjoy having that there. And then if you go into the laptop compartment here, it doesn't open up like a full clamshell like previous versions, but this one here is pretty simple and easy to use. There is like a suspended pocket similar to that front admin pocket where I just put anything related to my laptop. So I have a mouse and then my cable and everything like that. And then in here, you can fit up to a 16-inch device. So I just have a 13 there. You can see there's a ton of space to spare. And this is a really, really soft felt or a fleece line. So your stuff is pretty secure in there. And then you have a tablet pocket, which fits a keyboard. So overall, I felt like I had a decent amount of space for pretty much anything that I need to carry accessory-wise. Onto the main compartment. So this design is a lot simpler than the Outbreaker. There's just less kind of built-in organization. So if that's something that you like, this is going to be great for you, but something to keep in mind for sure. So this opens clamshell. You just start at one side, open it to the other. Just keep in mind, I personally got a little bit confused sometimes. I'd be like reaching for these zippers thinking I was getting the main compartment and it wasn't, and that's kind of user error, but something to keep in mind. And then you open this up, nice, easy to see everything in here. So I just have packing cubes on this side here. This is a open bucket that you can sort of pack however you please. I've used packing cubes in here, but I also rolled all of my clothing and everything fit in here really well. You can see a little bit that if you look at it from the side, you can see a little bit of bulk right here, and that's actually from this pocket right here in that laptop compartment that kind of cuts into the space a little bit. It's nothing too crazy, but I did feel like I had a little bit more depth to work with here than on this top bit. But really that just came down to me arranging my packing cubes accordingly. Or like I rolled like jeans down here and then rolled my t-shirts up top. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Definitely just kind of mess around with it and see which packing strategy works best for you. You can see as well, kind of, sort of, there's a bit of pet hair all around there. It does pick up pretty easily, so that is something to keep in mind too if you have some furry friends at home. But there's also just some lint in here, so it is pretty easy to see, and I mean, you can see it's just kind of coming right off, so it's not that big of a deal, but something to keep in mind. And then on the other side here, you just have one big mesh pocket. So one thing that I found a little bit of a nuisance for myself personally is that this pocket opens down towards the center of the bag versus opening at the top of the bag. And what that did for me is sometimes when I'm somewhere, I just leave my bag closed like this, even when it's like open, technically speaking. So I can just kind of reach in, unzip, grab something, and then flop it back down. I didn't want to have to open it all the way every single time, but because of this zipper opening orientation, I wasn't able to just unzip from the top and grab something. I had to unzip to the bottom, but you can also see that it's not, falling super nicely, I guess you could say. I have to lift it up a bit, and then as you unzip stuff's gonna fall out. So that was something that was definitely like a personal preference of mine. I understand, sort of the reasoning behind opening it towards the center, just because everything kind of comes that way, and then nothing's at risk of falling out unless if you open the bag on the side that's not, the center bit. So I do see the reasoning behind it, but it was a bit of a just sort of like technical thing for me based off of how I live out of a bag if I don't unpack when I get to a location. So you open this up and you do have a decent amount of packing space on the inside here. You can see that there's a bit of a lip there. And this is a really great spot for, I just have another cube in here and then a tech pouch, but I also put, you can put your dirty clothing in here. I put my toiletry bag in here. This is a really great spot for like if you pack out this front admin panel base where I have my toiletry bag. If you were to pack out all this space with like other tech items or accessories or like other fun stuff, maybe you bring like a speaker or something like that, then your toiletry bag can go in here no problem. And so you do have a decent amount of depth to work with. So overall, I didn't really feel like I was lacking space in this main compartment. What I like is that each compartment feels very roomy. So, that front pocket, even that little slip pocket, feels like you have a decent amount of space to work with, and it all sort of like comes together nicely so that one pocket doesn't impact another one too much. But I would say like in terms of packability, you get like about the depth of one shirt or two here. So cubes really did help sort of keep everything in line. So there you have it, the Tortuga Travel Backpack 40 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.